that you limit your comments to 2 minutes. Amen. Somebody says when I stand up, that means for you to sit down, but I'm not going to be that bold and bodacious. But I'm going to ask that you be courteous to adhere to their requests. Amen. Amen. We all know God and we know time. And as you do your reflections, I pray that you will be cognizant of the family's feelings and emotions at this time. We will begin with, as a neighbor, Christopher Etienne. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. I know you can do better than that. I've seen some of you last night. I know you can do better. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, that made me feel a little better.
Yes.
When I received the call from Kevin and Lisa, wanted to know would I come up here and depict the life and legacy of Daphne Brown. I told them I'd be honored. But they have me listed as a neighbor. I've known Daphne for over 40 years. And I would like to be considered more of a close friend. 40 years, right across the street. The door was always open. And it's still open. So I was thinking about it, and they said I only had 2 minutes. It's like it was just reflective. How do I put 40 years into 2 minutes? Impossible. I can't. I'm a military guy, so you got to give us some time.
Amen. Amen.
Time. 2 minutes is okay. So on June 9th, when Daphne was called to duty in military terms, she had a lot of close friends and relatives that met her when she reported in for duty.
Amen.
We all know that absent from the body
is present with the Lord.
Right. And the day Daphne reported for duty, as I was told, that was the day they were playing bingo. And those of you know that when you play bingo, it's one thing you don't do is shout bingo when you don't have bingo.
Amen.
They showed her around, and Daphne had a wonderful time. She is more worried about us than we are of her. She's got perfect weather. Life is good. We're going through a heat wave, and we're getting ready for hurricane season. She don't have to worry about that. No more pain, no more medication, no more doctors. She is in a great place.
Amen.
She is doing better than she's ever done before. And she wants you guys to know, don't worry about her. She's doing just great. So, in closing, I would like to say thank you to the family. Daphne's always been there for me and my family. And we will continue to be there for the family. And thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like billows rolls, whatever thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul.
Amen.
Try Jesus, he's all right. Try Jesus, he's all right. Yeah. I done tried him, and he's all right. Yeah. These are a couple of songs Mrs. Brown would sing at South Florida Evaluation and Treatment Center. She always have a smile. Ms. Brown would smile from cheek to cheek. Ms. Brown always said, regardless of my circumstances, I trust God. I put it in his hands.
Amen.
He's a battle axe in the time of a battle. She was not a person that was waging war wherever she was to give God some praise for whatever circumstances she was in. Penny, you got to come over here and pray for me. You got to pray for my family. I said, you pray for mine and I'll pray for yours. Regardless of the circumstance the situation is, we're still living in this breath in this world. You need somebody to pray for. You need to learn how to pray for yourself. Brown always a person to pray for. Regardless of what the situation, she loved in her family. She loved in her co-workers. It didn't take much. Ms. Brown was kind of a little bossy. On 7th South at South Florida Advanced Treatment Center. When she was left in control, Mrs. Brown was a soldier. In the morning when Mrs. Brown arrived, she would have like aluminum foil, and she would have a piece of Georgia fried sausage, and 2 pieces of light bread, if not an old imitation of cornbread that her husband, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown made the best cornbread if you ever.
Amen. Amen.
If you ever had Mr. Brown's cornbread, it was good. There was no comparison. She always kept the unit laughing, joking around. Mrs. Brown, she would get the inmates up. All right, get up out of that bed. You're not going to sleep on here all day. She would get them in the day room. She would have card games. She loved to play spades. Miss Brown, if I'm not mistakenly, she was a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm not
49ers.
49ers? You sure?
Keep on. Definitely 49ers. Definitely 49ers.
But we were all had a team, and Mrs. Brown would be saying, come on. And we would just enjoy ourselves. And another thing that is outstanding with Mrs. Brown, she loved to eat. And her daughter was an excellent cook. One Thanksgiving day,
yes,
she fed the whole South Florida Marriage Treatment Center. They had so much food, they had to go out in the street to bring the homeless in to eat up the food.
Yes.
Miss Brown believed in you. Well, you got to feed everything. You got to feed your spiritual food, and you got to feed your natural food. Mrs. Brown was a dedicated and excellent employee. She was committed. She was a hard worker. She was a leader. She kept 7 South in line. Some of the 7 South were Mr. Fush, Miss Prayer, Mr. Landry, Mr. Dozier, Mr. McKinney, Mr. Borders, Darrell, Mr. Bradshaw, and other 7th floor. On the other side, Mrs. Hilson, Mrs. Gant, and Mr. Eric. Everybody know Eric, correct?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown, she kept a good track record. Mrs. Brown, when she left the facility, Ms. Brown never changes her number. Somebody you can always depend on when you're talking to Mrs. Brown. Okay, Brown, who did you hear from? She will always give you an update on our old co-workers and how they were doing. And she will always have to tell them, say hello.
Amen.
Mrs. Brown, on behalf of South Florida Evaluation and Treatment Center, we extend our condolences to Mrs. Brown and her family. She is forever loved. She was a beautiful piece of stone that was a foundation of South Florida Evaluation Treatment Center. It is saddened, but this road we always have to travel. She's gone on to glory, and we give God praise and honor, but He has picked a beautiful treasure. Thank you.
Amen.
On behalf of the Brown family, Lisa and Kevin, my sincere sympathy and condolences. I come here in this funeral. She was the best lady in the world.
Amen.
A good mother, good grandmother.
Yes.
And also for all the family Brown.
Yes.
She don't have to know people to give love.
Yes.
Whatever she had, she would share with others.
Yes.
She leave a good trait for all of us to follow.
Yes.
She was a very nice lady.
Yes.
So, like I said, I say sincere condolences are all family, friends who will be present today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Daphnia Brown. She was the best cooking collard greens, first of all.
Amen.
You wanted some collard greens? Ask my sister, Daphnia Brown.
Amen.
And she was there for us from beginning to end.
Amen.
She was there when we needed her. She was there when we didn't need her.
Amen.
Daphnia did all she could for her family.
Yes.
And we loved her very, very much.
Yes.
We're going to miss her because she is always going to be in our heart.
Yes.
She is a Christian woman. I can say that. Because she always talked about the Lord.
Yes.
She told me the week that she died, that the Lord is going to heal her. And you know, I believe the Lord healed her.
Yes.
He healed her in the way that He wanted her to be healed.
Yes.
And you know, I am happy that she is sleeping in peace now.
Yes.
I know she in a home that she will not have no more pain,
Yes.
no more medicine,
Yes.
no more fussing or nothing like that.
Yes.
She is the best person that you could ever have because she is a loving woman.
Yes.
And I say to her, sleep on, sister, because we love you, but God loves you best.
Yes.
God will ever love you, ever.
Oh. Oh.
God bless.
Oh.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Azaria Moore, her granddaughter. I'm going to read you guys this speech I wrote. Dear Grandma, you broke me with this one. It was nothing like a grandmother's love. You always made sure we again had our own everything at your house. From clothes to both CDs, even coats with our names on it. I love when you cooked your fried chicken.
Be strong, young lady.
Amen. Amen.
I love when you cooked your fried chicken and needed my help putting the chicken in the flour and flipping the chicken. Whenever my dad was mad at me and he told you always said things in the sweetest keys and never tried to make me feel less than. And for that, I loved you even more. You were a great grandma. You are a great grandma. And I thought of you with love today and the days before that too. I think about you in silence. I often speak your name. All I have are memories and your picture. Your memories and my keepsake, with which I'll never part. God has you in His keeping, but I have you in my heart. I never questioned you leaving us because I trust God too much. I use this as my motivation to keep going. You fought for so long, it'd be selfish for me to say I'm mad. But I am sad, and I am hurt. Not only that, I'm happy that you're pain-free, and you fought all you could.
Amen.
I know you're at peace now, smiling down on us. You will be missed, my baby, but until we meet again, enjoy paradise pain-free, and I love you.
Amen.
Amen. Because we truly had a glorious time. Amen. I'm talking with a little bit later. One thing is just to do it. I was crazy
Yes.
with my whole heart.
Yes.
Hello, behold God, when I stand before Him. I was bishop
Yes.
to wife
Yes.
whole and temple, praising His name for the love and the truth that there will be many, many things. The Lord is with us and all.
Yes.
Yes, He is. He loves us. He'll never forever forgive us. He'll love us. He'll keep us. One good thing. Just be ready. Just be ready when He calls your name.
Yes.
That's all we have to worry about.
Yes.
And if you trust your word, trust the Lord, and be ready when He opens the doors, everything will be all right.
Yes.
We won't have anything to worry about.
Yes.
We know that as we live from one day to the next one,
Yes.
we know that God is going to take us home when time comes.
Yes.
We just want to be ready when time comes.
Yes.
As long as we are ready when time comes,
Yes.
everything else is all right. May God bless you.
Yes.
From here to the door. Let them know that I'm going to hold on. I'm going to continue to be holding when maybe you think
Yes.
everything else is running wrong.
Yes.
I got it in mind. Yes, Lord. I will forever hold on to the Lord. As long as
Yes.
I hold this long, I can hold a little while longer. God bless each and every one, from the front to the back.
That's right.
Amen. Because we truly had a glorious time on last night. I'm talking with a little bit later. One good thing, just a few words. I will praise thee
Yes.
with my whole heart.
Yes.
Below, behold God, will I stand here. I will wish up
Yes.
to voice the Lord.
Yes.
Whole and temple. Praising his name for the love and the truth that there will be manifest. The Lord is with us and all.
Yes.
Yes, he loves us. He'll never, never forever forget us. He'll love us and he'll keep us. One good thing. He is just be ready. Just be ready when he calls your name.
Yes.
That's all we have to worry about.
Yes.
And if you press your word, press the Lord, and be ready when he opens the doors, everything will be all right.
Yes.
We won't have anything to worry about.
Yes.
We know that as we live from one day to the next one,
Yes.
we know that God is going to take us home when time comes.
Yes.
We just want to be ready when time comes.
Yes.
As long as we are ready when time comes,
Yes.
everything else is all right. May God bless you.
Yes.
From here to the door. Let them know I'm going to hold on. I'm going to continue to be holding when maybe you think
Yes.
everything else is running wrong.
Yes.
I got it in my hand. Yes. I will forever hold on to the Lord. As long as I hold on.
Yes.
I hold this long, I can hold a little while longer. God bless each and every one, from the front to the back.
That's right.